In a political development that has sent shockwaves throughout South Africa and beyond, ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula has publicly and unapologetically labeled President Cyril Ramaphosa a criminal during a fiery and unscripted outburst that has laid bare the deep fractures within the ruling African National Congress. What was once whispered behind closed doors has now exploded into full view of the public, and the implications for the ANC, and for South African governance as a whole, are seismic. Mbalula's remarks came during a press conference that was meant to address growing concerns about the ANC's internal discipline and recent controversies involving several high-profile party members abroad. Instead, it spiraled into an emotionally charged tirade that saw Mbalula accuse Ramaphosa of shielding corruption, manipulating the justice system, and betraying the revolutionary values of the ANC. You don't get to talk about renewal when you are the very face of rot. Cyril is no longer the president of the people, he is a president of cover-ups, of elite deals, of criminality, Mbalula said, his voice rising with each sentence. These words, spoken by one of Ramaphosa's own top officials, have left the ANC visibly shaken and the public gripped with disbelief. For years, Mbalula was seen as a political firebrand, known for his loud proclamations and combative style, but rarely has he turned his ire so directly on the very man at the helm of the country. This latest blow-up is not happening in a vacuum. Over the past few months, the ANC has been rocked by a string of embarrassing scandals, reports of ANC delegates arrested overseas for money laundering, accusations of secret offshore accounts tied to key officials, and a growing narrative that the renewal agenda Ramaphosa has touted is nothing more than a smokescreen. Privately, ANC insiders admit that the party is in crisis. There is no leadership, only factions, said a senior ANC NEC member who asked not to be named. Mbalula's outburst was undisciplined, yes, but many of us agree with the sentiment. Ramaphosa talks change but acts in self-preservation. Some sources claim Mbalula's explosion was the culmination of months of internal tension, particularly after reports surfaced suggesting that the presidency was attempting to sideline him in key decision-making. Others believe this may be part of a larger strategy to force a realignment of power ahead of the ANC's next national elective conference. For ordinary South Africans, the spectacle of two senior ANC leaders clashing so publicly has been met with a mix of shock, anger, and deepening cynicism. Social media platforms have erupted with hashtags like #ANC imploding and #Ramaphosa must answer, with many users pointing out that the party's infighting is distracting from the urgent issues facing the nation: unemployment, crime, load shedding, and service delivery failures. Political analysts are warning that the ANC is now in uncharted waters. We are not witnessing a healthy democratic disagreement here, said political analyst Thabo Masemola. We are witnessing a party that is consuming itself. If this continues, the ANC may not survive another election in its current form. In the immediate aftermath, President Ramaphosa issued a carefully worded statement through his spokesperson, calling Mbalula's comments unfortunate, inflammatory, and unbefitting of a leader of the ANC. However, he stopped short of demanding an apology or disciplining Mbalula, leading critics to label his response as tepid and overly cautious. Behind the scenes, however, there are reports that Ramaphosa has summoned his legal team to explore options for addressing what some within his camp are calling defamation from within. Others believe he is trying to buy time and assess the level of internal support he still commands. The ANC's reputation has taken many hits over the years, from state capture and corruption scandals to electoral losses in key metros, but this moment feels different. With a top official openly calling the president a criminal, the perception that the ANC is in free fall is becoming harder to ignore. Mbalula, for his part, appears unapologetic. In follow-up interviews, he doubled down on his remarks, saying, "I said what millions are thinking. If we don't clean our house, the voters will do it for us, and brutally." As calls mount for either disciplinary action against Mbalula or a broader reckoning within the ANC, the party's leadership is facing a critical test of unity and legitimacy. Will Ramaphosa reassert control and silence dissent, or will the cracks continue to widen until the party is forced into irreversible realignment or collapse?